the most beautiful royal jewels ever worn by queens. Imagine a diamond so rare it was cut from the largest gem ever pulled from the earth. A tiara smuggled out of a revolution, hidden in a basket by a terrified servant. A pearl necklace so perfect that Cartier paid a fortune just to own it. These are not simply jewels, they are the most breathtaking, most dazzling, most achingly beautiful objects ever placed upon a human head, crafted by the greatest artisans in history for the most powerful women who ever lived. We are talking about stones that have survived wars, revolutions, and theft. Colours so rare, pink diamonds, pale blue gems, blood-red spinels, that most people will go their entire lives without ever seeing one in person. Tiaras so exquisitely made that they can be worn 5 different ways. Collections so vast they filled entire tables when they were finally unsealed after decades. But beauty, in royal history, always comes with a shadow. Some of these pieces were stolen, some were smuggled across borders in the dead of night, some passed through hands drenched in blood, and at least one of them may never be returned to the woman who wore it as a bride. Welcome to the most dazzling, most dangerous, most heartbreakingly beautiful royal jewels the world has ever known, and the extraordinary queens who wore them. The Imperial State Crown. It has sat upon the heads of monarchs for centuries. It has opened parliaments, outlasted wars, and witnessed the rise and fall of empires. But nothing in royal history compares to the sheer staggering spectacle of the Imperial State Crown. Housing the legendary Cullinan II, a diamond of 317 carats, cut from the largest gem-quality rough diamond ever found on Earth, alongside 2,867 additional diamonds, 17 sapphires, 11 emeralds, and 269 natural pearls, this crown is not merely jewellery, it is a declaration of absolute power made physical. Queen Elizabeth II wore it at every state opening of Parliament across her historic 70-year reign, though she famously admitted it was almost unbearably heavy, and that she had to keep her head perfectly still or risk toppling it entirely. Every stone tells a story. The Black Prince's ruby at the front, not even a ruby. It's a spinel, and it was reportedly worn by King Henry V himself at the Battle of Agincourt in 1415. But here's the question no one talks about. The Cullinan diamond was found in South Africa in 1905 and gifted to the British Crown under circumstances that many historians today consider deeply colonial. Could the world's most famous crown one day be forced to give up its centerpiece? The story is far from over. The Vladimir Tiara. This one was smuggled out of a revolution. In the chaos of 1917, as the Romanov dynasty collapsed and Bolshevik forces seized everything in their path, a loyal servant of Grand Duchess Maria Pavlovna made a desperate decision to hide a basket of the most precious jewels in the imperial collection, among them the Vladimir Tiara. Originally crafted by the Russian court jeweller Bolin in 1874, the tiara was a masterpiece of interlocking diamond circles, each suspending a luminous pear-shaped pearl. It was a piece built for royalty on the grandest scale imaginable. After the Revolution, Queen Mary of Britain purchased it in 1921 quietly and cleverly. But it was Elizabeth II who gave the tiara its most iconic transformation. She replaced the pearl drops with emeralds, creating a different jewel entirely depending on which stone she chose to wear. Think about that. One tiara, 2 completely different looks, 2 different personalities, 2 different queens. It became one of her most beloved pieces. But if those original pearls were switched out, what happened to them? No one outside the palace knows. The Stuart Tiara. At the centre of this tiara sits a secret 400 years in the making. A pale, ghostly blue pear-shaped diamond of 40 carats, one of the rarest colours a diamond can be, originally purchased in the late 1600s by William III and Mary II. Because William was Dutch, the stone eventually passed to the Netherlands, where it sat quietly in royal collections for nearly 2 centuries before being set into the Stuart Tiara. When Queen Maxima of the Netherlands wore it at a Buckingham Palace state banquet in 2018, the entire room reportedly stopped. She's already known as one of the most glamorous queens in the world, But that night, with this pale blue diamond resting at the apex of her tiara, she looked like she had stepped out of another era entirely. Blue diamonds are extraordinarily rare, rarer in fact than red. So rare that most people will never see one in person. And yet, even with everything we know, the full provenance of this stone, every hand it passed through before reaching the Dutch crown, remains incomplete. What was it worth when William III bought it? What secrets did it witness? The Dutch Emerald Parure Tiara. This is the jewel that makes fashion editors weep. Created in 1899 by Schumann at the request of Queen Emma, the Dutch Emerald Parure is the rarest kind of royal jewel, one that transforms. It has 3 separate settings, one blazing with deep green emeralds, one gleaming with pearls, and one set entirely with diamonds. 3 entirely different tiaras, same frame. When Queen Maxima pairs the emerald configuration with a matching forest green gown, which she does with the confidence of someone who knows exactly what she's doing, the effect is so striking it almost defies belief. The emeralds at the heart of this parure are not just beautiful, they are ancient, with origins that predate the tiara itself by generations. Royal jewels of this era were rarely made from newly acquired stones. They were made from gems already inside the family, with their own hidden histories. Which queens wore these emeralds before they were set into this crown? And what happened to the settings that didn't survive? The 9 Provinces Tiara. Here is where beauty and darkness meet. The diamonds in this extraordinary Art Deco tiara were cut in Antwerp, Belgium's legendary diamond capital, but their origin is impossible to separate from the brutal history of the Belgian Congo. The Congo Free State, under King Leopold II, was the site of one of history's most horrific colonial atrocities. The wealth it generated flowed back into Belgium in countless ways. The 9 Provinces Tiara features 11 enormous round diamonds totaling approximately 100 carats, symbolising the royal house, Belgium's 9 provinces, and the Congo. The base alone can be worn as a bandeau, a choker, or a bracelet, a staggering feat of engineering that makes it one of the most versatile pieces in any royal collection. Queen Mathilde wears it today with extraordinary grace. But the question of what legacy sits beneath the sparkle, that question is one the Belgian royal family has never fully answered publicly. Beauty, as always in royal history, has a cost, and sometimes that cost was paid by people whose names we will never know. Maud's Pearl Tiara. This one was stolen, and what replaced it is not entirely what it seems. The original tiara was commissioned in 1896 by King Edward VII and Queen Alexandra from Garrard, the legendary London jeweller, as a wedding gift for their daughter Maud. It was an object of profound sentiment, a mother's love set in gold and pearls. The tiara survived World War II by being quietly transported to Windsor Castle for safekeeping, and returned to Norway only in 1953 for the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II. But in 1995, while it was being cleaned at Garrard, it was stolen. It has never been recovered. The tiara Queen Sonia wears today is a replica, a beautiful, precise, meticulously crafted replica, but a replica nonetheless. Somewhere out there, the original may still exist, in a private collection, in a vault, in a foreign country. Does someone know where it is? Has it been quietly sold? The Norwegian royal family has never spoken publicly about what they know, and Garrard, the jeweller who let it disappear, remains tight-lipped to this day. The Fleur-de-Lis Tiara. She wore it on the worst day of her life. Queen Ina of Spain walked down the aisle in 1906 wearing this magnificent tiara, 3 towering fleur-de-lis set with substantial diamonds, referencing the Bourbon dynasty's ancient heraldic symbol. It was her wedding day. Hours later, an anarchist threw a bomb hidden inside a bouquet of flowers at the royal carriage. Dozens were killed. Ina survived, covered in blood that was not her own, her white gown stained forever in Spanish history. The tiara she wore that morning never left the royal collection. Today, more than a century later, Queen Letizia, a former television journalist who married into the monarchy, wears it at official events, and there is something quietly extraordinary about that image. A woman of the people, wearing a crown that survived an assassination attempt on her wedding day, known simply as La Buena, the good one, as if naming it gently might soften what it witnessed. But can any jewel truly escape its history? Catherine the Great's imperial crown. She was not born Russian. She was not born royal. She was a German princess named Sophie, who arrived in Russia as a teenager, converted her religion, changed her name, and by 1762 had engineered the overthrow of her own husband to seize absolute power over the largest empire on earth. Her coronation crown was crafted that same year, a jaw-dropping construction of nearly 5,000 diamonds and a spectacular 398.72 carat red spinel at its peak. When Soviet officials cracked open the sealed Romanov trunks in 1922, they found this crown and hundreds of other pieces glittering on a single table as if time had stopped. Catherine's personal 389 pearl necklace was sold to Cartier for an astronomical sum. Much of the rest was sold off, scattered, lost. The great imperial crown itself remains in Russia, housed in the Kremlin armory. But here is the detail that keeps historians awake at night. The full inventory of what was in those trunks has never been publicly released. How much was sold? How much was hidden? And where are those pieces now? The Noor-ol-Ain Tiara. At the centre of this Harry Winston creation sits a pink diamond of almost incomprehensible rarity, the Noor-ol-Ain, meaning light of the eye, one of the largest pink diamonds in the world. Empress Farah wore it at her 1959 wedding to Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi, the last Shah of Iran. The tiara is valued at approximately $10.6 million, making it one of the most precious pieces ever worn by any non-British queen in modern history. When the Iranian Revolution came in 1979, the Shah fled. The jewels remained. The Iranian state took possession of the entire crown jewel collection, including the Noor-ol-Ain Tiara, and it now sits in the Central Bank of Iran in Tehran, behind glass, in a vault the public can visit but never touch. Empress Farah herself is still alive, still in exile, still, presumably, remembering the night she wore that impossible pink diamond as a bride. Somewhere in Tehran, the jewel that sat on her head is locked away by a government that took everything from her, and she will likely never see it again. 12 jewels, 12 stories of power, tragedy, theft, exile, revolution, and the strange, enduring human obsession with making beauty permanent. These queens, some celebrated, some forgotten, some still alive, each left something of themselves behind in the stones they wore. And somewhere in the world, locked in a vault, hidden in a private collection, or resting under a glass case in a city you may never visit, every single one of these jewels is still waiting.